Have you ever said something out loud and right away you wished you could go back? That time, we've all been there. When the words you use feel like arrows, thoughts. You can't pull back, but what if you could? Learn how to speak so that every word flows. What you say shows knowledge, grace, and inner strength. That's what we're all about. Going into today, 6 things a smart person should know never says everything that came from the timeless. The theory of the way of Stoicism teaches us that words, sounds aren't the only thing they're reflecting. Of your mind and your morals, from staying away from pointless bravado to giving in to the power of silence. These habits change more than just how you look. Talk to people, but also figure out who you are. And the best part at the end of this video, you'll learn useful things about right away. Raise the level of your voice, whether it's with co-workers or even inside of you. Talking, so get ready. This isn't just it's about how what you say makes you who you are. Don't miss what we're about to do. Start a trip that will change you. How well you know the real power of one. Don't brag about how smart you are. Speech number 1. Don't brag about, did you know, have you ever met someone who, they talked about with their skills and achievements. They'd go about all the things they know, what they've learned, and even the books they've read so far. You may be impressed at first, but over time what turns into distance is not interest, because what they know isn't useful, but because of how they show it off, makes people feel. The hidden Stoic theory stresses that real smarts don't need to show off itself. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "Nature doesn't brag about what it makes, and we also shouldn't take credit for this isn't just advice, it's a way of life." Let me tell you a story. Was good at knew a friend named John who was meeting or gathering in the tech field. JN always tried to be the smartest. He'd talk about major with someone in the room. He worked on a lot of different projects, technologies he knew how to use, and even the first awards he won, people were interested. But over time, they thought John was going to turn every talk into a personal one day. Honestly show off. A co-worker told him that even though he knew his way of sharing it is amazing, was turning people off at that moment was John's realization of what was going on. The man was trying too hard to impress. By accident pushing people away. This is an easy trap that lots of people fall into when you feel like you need to share about what you know or have done. Ask yourself why if you want to help other people or add to a chat. That's great, but if it's to look for praise or respect, it's time to think again before you say that. You not only lower the value of your words and there is an unseen wall between you and other people. Instead of inspiring them, you make them feel like you're measuring or judging them against your Stoic theory. For the mind offers a first. Let your deeds speak for themselves. More powerful than your words. If you really know something, it will easily show through your work and how you issues in the second practice. Being humble does not mean putting your skills down, means letting others know how valuable you are by interacting with, and finally pay attention. When you listen, you don't learn from other people alone, but you also get along and build. More hearing is a way of making links. The kind of silence that Stoics find incredibly strong. Quiet isn't a lack of knowing things, shows that you're sure of yourself. John understood this lesson. He spoke less slowly but deeply as time went on. More interest and about himself to the thoughts and stories of other people instead of trying to take over. During talks, he started to contribute more and more over time, and being humble, he became wanted by more than just for how smart he was, but for the truthfulness and a willingness to work together. It was shown by him that information isn't not to be shown off, but to be shared in a way that makes the community. Not bragging doesn't mean taking away the chance to share your knowledge. It means giving it in a way that makes other people feel valued. And Stoic thought teaches us how to be linked. That your words show what's inside character. When you pick being humble over arrogance, you make not only your life better, but also the people around you. Ask yourself what your words mean. The answer you give will determine your path. To grow. 2. Never push other people away. 2. Never disregard other people's thoughts. What thoughts have you ever felt like were ignored? In a talk where what you said was thrown out before you even had a chance to describe how painful it is, as they all the work and thought you put in were not thought about. The worst part, you might even begin to question yourself. Is what I mean really not important? I understand how you feel. Okay, since I've been the one making it happen. When I first became a leader at work, I was sure of my ability to make being quick to judge. During one meeting, a co-worker came up with a way to make things better. Our work without giving it a second thought. I halted and said it wasn't realistic. I thought I would save everyone time. What I didn't know was that the hesitant was followed by silence, looks from other people, and the way the meeting went on with little excitement. For more thoughts afterward from a trusted co-worker kindly told, "I think you should have paid more attention." That thought wasn't as bad as it seemed at first. Made noise at first, that comment woke me up. I had not only missed a chance, but I had also made a mistake there is an attitude of unwillingness on my team. Stoic thought teaches us that real being humble, not proud, leads to wisdom. In the past, Marcus Aurelius wrote that you find out what you think you already know. When you don't care about someone's view, if you don't listen, you're then not letting creation happen, but also not building trust. And this link costs you more than just cash. Good ideas. It makes your own less strong. Leadership, from what I learned there, to change the way I talk to people. In later talks with myself, I told being able to listen doesn't mean. When you agree, listening is about giving, respecting others, and being willing to learn if the idea doesn't seem like a good one. At first interesting to me by taking with an open mind, my team bringing about breakthrough answers that I never thought about this as a change in alternative point of view to try, instead of ask yourself, how can I fight this idea? What does this teach me? Even ideas that seem to be wrong can have helpful ideas, and if not, you still help yourself understand how the trouble is seen by someone else, and that to understand something on its own is valuable. Second, remember to be humble. Stoicism says that we're not in the middle of the world turning down someone else's. At its core, opinion is a way of putting things. Your point of view is better than all others, as if you are the only one who can do it. Truth. But the truth is that there isn't one person knows all the right answers, lies in working together and exchanging of ideas. After I changed how I did things, the mood in our talks changed. I began to ask more questions, and boosting even the most quiet team to say what they think about because of this, not only did we make better thoughts, but the group also felt more. I realized that I felt valued and linked. In some way, everyone has something to teach me, something I wasn't getting because I couldn't wait, and being too sure of themselves and then unwilling to. Not listening to other people isn't just a kindness act. It's a plan when you care about the points of view of those around you. Open the door to a world of thoughts and views, chances and chances. You earn trust and make an area where real innovation can. Stoics say that people who thrive are wise, but to show you're right, it's about being aware that everyone in there has a piece of the truth in a unique way, and that's what real learning is all about. 3. Don't keep whining for no reason. 3. Please don't complain without reason. Picture someone like Peter, a worker in their later years with years of. Peter has been in business for a while and has a lot on his plate with meeting work goals, having to deal with family duties and getting through the natural bumps in life throws at him, but he goes for it instead. These difficulties in a productive way, Peter has made it a habit of constant being unhappy with how ineffective his people at work, how the coffee machine at it looks like work is never in order. Peter is very angry about a lot of things. At first, his co-workers felt sorry for him, giving solutions, but as the weeks went by, the bad mood wore them down for months. Down talks with Peter turned into people stopped talking to him because he was draining, not because they didn't care, but because they were just unable to handle the constant, a steady flow of complaints. One day, during lunch, a friend said something that Peter I was stopped in his tracks. "I get how upset you are. What are you going to do to fix these, though?" Problems. The question kept coming back to Peter. He realized he wasn't looking for answers. He was ranting for no reason, which made his being negative all the time was not only excluding some people while also supporting his own sense of, this situation is all too full of helplessness. It's simple to get caught in the trap, means showing anger without think about how it will affect other people, or the Stoic theory gives us a concentrate on what you can do as a powerful cure. Take charge of and let go of what you. Marcus Aurelius must be one of Stoicism's smartest people who ever lived, wrote you have power over your thoughts, not outside things. Know this, and you'll find power to complain, especially about things that are out of our control, only makes. We are stuck in thoughts of helplessness, a circle of negative things, but not all complaints are bad in and of themselves when formed with the goal of making things better. But when they don't have direction, they complain, become meaningless words that drain energy and figure nothing to complain about. The roads are still crowded with cars. People will not stop complaining about the weather. The rain fell on smart people understand this difference and channel their power into what really is important. So how can you get away from in the habit of doing nothing? Before you complain, ask yourself one simple question whenever you're. The question, what can I do about this? If the answer is nothing, then let it out. About things you can't change. Not only loses time and takes away your self-worth. Peace. Put that energy towards something helpful, like read, think, or show thanks for the things are going well in your life. Approach is to change the way you look at things. Not to ask, why does this always happen to me? Ask yourself what I can learn. We can learn from this that Stoicism, that every task gives you a chance for problems with growth, keep us from seeing these chances, and thinking about them helps us. Find them and bring them back to Peter. Went with what his friend told him and changing his way of thinking instead of, he began by whining about his boss. Planning well-thought-out answers to the he had to deal with at work, instead of he listened while moaning about his journey, listened to audiobooks or practiced being present. During rush hour, the way he saw things changed over time. The words were stronger because they weren't filled with negativity. His relationships got better, and his co-workers began looking for his help, and people were drawn to his calm, focused on solutions. Final behavior, not engaging in complaining for no reason, is about getting back your power. When you think about, you can control what you can, not only strengthen your mind and improve you have on the people around you. Stoic thought tells us that our mind and words are useful tools when used right. They can make their lives strong, meaning and a link with other people when you let go of pointless worries. And if you take positive action, you not only change how other people see you, make changes to your life. 4 is not empty. 4. Don't make empty claims. Promises. Promises have a special weight to them. In our lives, they shape what we expect, build trust and explain. But how often do we find ourselves making light promises without giving it a lot of thought? Follow through with this habit while, by accident, it can hurt trust and weaken. Stoic thought teaches us how to make links, how important it is to match our words with our acts, making that clear. Being honest doesn't mean saying a lot of things. Doing what we say, Let's look at a man named Greg, who is in his 50s, works as a balancing a tough job and a family responsibilities. Greg meant well, but often took on too much. He'd promise his team that he would look over there by Monday, or reassure his family he'd get home in time for dinner, but not enough time. And again, people at first let him off the hook, seeing his behavior as the result of had a busy schedule. But as the offers came in, so did his team began to second their anger, take a guess at his family, and friends grew tired of his constant, Greg's words are okay when taken at face value. Value now had a hint of doubt to it. One evening, after missing yet another, his teenage daughter left a family event. There was a note on his desk that said, "We just want you really mean it when you say that." Greg was moved by the simple statement. He saw that even though he had the best what his empty claims were meant to do, trust is being broken more than being built, and honor that he worked so hard to earn. This story shows a main quiet trait principle: speak with purpose and do what you say with honesty. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "Be clear and honest in what you say." Our teacher tells us that promises aren't just about making the moment better. They are promises that bind our words together, that our character broke a promise. Even writing a check by accident is like, your reputation can't buy anything, so how can it? It's best not to make empty claims while still building trust and respect at the start. By taking a moment before you say yes, ask yourself, do I have the time and the drive to keep this promise if the truth isn't clear? So it's better to be honest about what you expect than to offer too much and not produce enough For example, instead of saying, "I'll make sure this is ready by tomorrow. I'll do my best to have it ready by tomorrow, but I'll let you know if I need more time." Let you know that another plan is to work under promise and over-providing by setting goals that can be reached and sometimes going beyond them. You not only keep appointments, but also make a name for yourself by dependability. Picture Greg telling his team he would need 3 days to look over their report writing, but finishing them in 2 actions speak louder than words, showing skill and thoughtfulness. Finally, accept responsibility. If you ever find not able to keep a word, talk about it. Head on, truly apologize, and describe the situation quickly and suggest a way to fix it. This method not only reduces the damage, but it also shows respect for the time and trust Greg took from other people. He took these lessons to heart and became more aware of his obligations. He said no when it was important, and making sure he could follow through on his yes over time. His team gained their trust again in him and to his family. His work started to look like, besides being honest, Greg saw a change, the peace he felt inside that came from knowing that what he said would wait, and what he did supported them in. In the end, not making empty promises it's not about being perfect, being real, and Stoic thought tells us that we can trust it. Living with that is what makes you strong. Honesty means that your words and deeds match up. Without a hitch, by sticking to this because of your morals, you not only earn respect, but also make things deeper and more important, getting along. It's not the vows we make that matter, who we are and the ones we keep. Before we move on to the next one, if you like this video, don't forget to click the like button and sign up for the channel with the bell on to make sure you don't miss any more movies. You care as much about this kind of. As long as you're happy, leave a comment saying, I love this idea. Let's 5th. Don't try to hide your mistakes. 5 more. Don't deny have you ever felt like you made a mistake? Giving up on a mistake is the same as showing your flaws for everyone to see you. I used to think the same thing, but my view changed after an experience I fully understand. Stoic thought learnt that owning up to your mistakes does not make you less valuable. Instead, it makes you look like a more honest person. Marcus Aurelius once said, "If someone can show me I'm wrong and show me where I went wrong in any thought or thing, I'll happily change, because it is, I look for the truth, and the truth never hurt." Could you let me tell you a personal story? A few years ago, I was in charge of a big project at work. While I was in a hurry to meet her on a tight schedule, I forgot to do some because of this. Important information in a report. Because of those mistakes, my team had to get in trouble with upper management when I found out about the mistake. My first thought was to make excuses and blame the heavy workload, the short deadline, anything but. In my heart, I knew that would only hurt the trust I had worked so hard to build. I decided to deal with the problem at the next meeting. I said I was sorry for my mistake to my team and laid out clear steps to make sure it doesn't happen again. The reaction was unpleasant instead of judgment, and my co-workers liked to be honest, some even thanked me to be responsible and set an example. I realized then that owning up to my mistake did not weaken me, but strengthened me. Being honest about why you made a mistake is so strong that it breaks down walls as a defense and builds trust. By given your duty, you send a strong message that you care more about the truth than your ego. You also make it a safe place where some people feel comfortable sharing their making mistakes and trying to find solutions. But let's be honest, saying you were wrong it's not always easy. We worry about being judged or being disrespected. But think about this. Ignoring a mistake that is clear, does it make you look better or worse? Check it out faulty. Have the guts to say so. Your flaws is a sign of trust. It shows you're strong enough to deal with the truth and determined to get better. Yet, how can you use what you've learnt? In your life by learning. Being aware of yourself when things go wrong. Stay away from the urge to blame others and instead ask yourself, what did I do in this? If you're not really to blame, having it is the first step to a solution. Fix the next thing. Do not just say sorry and move on. Through your deeds, show that things are being fixed by you. Stoic ideas help us remember that not making mistakes is not failing, but chances to learn and grow. Grow people who are brave enough to say, not only do their mistakes get better, they are an inspiration to those around them. When you learn to deal with you're building a base of mistakes. Thanks, and trust you the next time you make. Don't try to hide or avoid a mistake. Commit to doing what you say you will do. Remember to have the guts to say it. What really sets you apart are your mistakes. Art and gives you sixth, don't talk too much about the future. 6. Don't talk too much about your plans for the future. The Stoics stress that making plans. Making promises isn't just about keeping them. Having responsibilities is about keeping people safe, being honest and treating others with respect. Any small promise is just that, a promise. Seem like they can slowly wear away at the moment. Look at your name, and since you trust me, let me tell you a story. That could sound known. Meet Jim, a middle-aged worker who is friendly and has a being willing to agree to almost anything his friends and family ask him if it helped. A friend move and offer to do extra work job at work, or making a promise to go to all of Jim's community events. Sure, count me, is the usual answer. But as life got busy, those agreements made with good intentions began to pile up, and he began to forget, or not being there one day, a closer friend asked Jim to go to an important family dinner, which Jim always agreed to with enthusiasm, but later forgot, and set up a work meeting for the same time the next day after dinner with his friend, told him how upset their family was. Jim got a wake-up call from it, knew that what he said was meant to make at the time were doing more harm than the things he said he would do. Even if he had turned into hollows and were hurting the people he cared about most. About this situation brings up a common trap. Sometimes we make too many promises to keep awkwardness or to seem friendly, but St. Thomas taught us that words should be purposeful and in line with what we do, Marcus Aurelius wrote, "If it is not right, if it's not true, don't do it." That is, to put it another way, every promise you make should be based on your will. Saying yes without belief a lot of the time comes from a fear of letting people down, some others, but what really causes more, not following through, does hurt. So how do you keep from making empty a pause comes before a promise? Before you agree to something, take a moment to think about whether it fits with your things that matter and if you can easily meet it. If not, a polite no can be much more useful than a vague yes that never makes it clear that people value honesty and specific promises instead of general ones that make people angry. Next, put quality over number. It is better to say yes to fewer things and do them well instead of spreading yourself out too thin and let other people. When you say you'll do something, do it. It was done on purpose, and excellence this way of doing things builds an image for being trustworthy and polite. Last but not least, understand that calling no is not. It's selfish. Stoics believe in being self-aware. In concentrating on what you can change. Putting too much on your plate makes it harder for you to deliver on. When you keep vows that count, your promises on purpose, and you choose to protect your honor. And keep trust. As Jim thought about his wake-up call, he began taking her with more care. He started saying no to questions he really couldn't answer, adapt and stay focused on delivering on the most important promises made over time. His relationships got better and people came to respect him, not for having to say no to everything, sometimes doing what he agreed to do to avoid making empty claims in the end. It's not just about keeping your word, it's about getting your actions to match your morals and building more deeply. Important links that the Stoics help us remember that every word we say shapes how people see us and how we see them. So when someone asks again for a promise, take a deep breath. Think about your promise and make sure it's a one you can respect fully, and that's not just smarts. It's I'd love to hear about your strength, journey and victories. Please click. When you join, turn on the bell and share your thoughts in the space below. Tell your story about your wins and even the problems you've solved. If you're not sure what to say, just write, "I love this," to prove you've finished this session. Your participation helps with this. People in the neighborhood grow in knowledge and the arts of making each problem into an, if I have time, I'll leave 2 more movies here so you can keep learning and working on your personal growth. Thanks for the trip, and I'll see you in the next movie.